Damn, that thing's low. All right. Good afternoon, beautiful people. Good rising. Good evening. Whenever you may watch this podcast. This is episode 26, I believe.
Mhm.
Um, Coming back from a little vacation, had a good time. I went to the beach, went to the woods, as Mark say. So I got both worlds as far as nature. So we got a good one for you today. Hopefully everyone likes it. And my signature, your thought becomes your belief, and your belief becomes your manifestation. All right, Mark.
No, I just want to say hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm just gonna say hi. I'm gonna say evening, whatever it is. Hello, but same thing. Echo every week. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Um, it's good to have feedback. Like we always say, this is for everybody, not just us. I want to hear women's opinions, guys' opinions on the topics we talk about, because it's good to see where everybody is at. Because a friend asked me the other day, "Well, what do y'all talk about?" And I told him we talk about everything that's subject that comes to mind. And she was like, "So why do y'all have guests?" I said, "We have guests sometimes, but we would like for y'all to still make a comment when you subscribe, because we need to know what's going on, how everybody thinks." She didn't understand what was the point of it. I'm like, "Don't you watch podcasts? Like, everybody has an opinion. Everybody talks on certain subjects and put their point of view across. And then we do the same thing. We just
Right.
do it this way." So basically, I'm just talking to her when she watches this, that, just subscribe it. I mean,
Hmm.
subscribe, like, and leave a comment on what you feel about the subject we talked about. So I just want to put that out there. So, but she said she's going to watch. So
Yeah.
on that note, STS guys, like, Matt's signature, mine's STS, which I say for my clients, but I use that all aspects of life, because I believe you gotta stay focused. You have to trust your process, and you most definitely, everybody know this, because I see it a lot, hear a lot of commercials now, is stay consistent. That's on anything you do, fitness, your job, relationship, whatever it is, we got to be consistent. So that's my belief is STS, guys. I try to, live it, walk it myself, and practice it. You got to drink your own Kool-Aid. So anyway, on that note, man, I'm gonna go ahead and let you start it off. I don't want to
Yeah.
mumble too much about that.
Yeah, that's interesting because everybody and their grandma got a darn podcast. I mean, almost every athlete that you never even think will have
Right.
one have one, and
Mm-hmm.
entertainers and everybody. So, I mean, it's the going thing now. Everybody have a voice. Everybody want to get their voice out there.
Right.
So it's surprising that she was asked you that question,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like you can't turn anywhere without seeing somebody with a
Right.
podcast. But
Yeah.
anyway, no further ado. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
today's topic is so if you're in a relationship, I'm not even going to include marriage because that should be a no-brainer. But if you're in a relationship, rather committed, um, getting close to being committed, if that significant other is having issues, whether it's financial or whatever, should you reach out to that person first, or should they reach out to you first? And I'm not going to get personal or anything like that, but a certain situation came up, and it's funny because we had a podcast not too long ago about communication. And I guess I could come across as kind of contradictive because I didn't communicate it. But, I'm under the firm belief that when you're in a relationship, if it's committed or not, well, if it is committed and you're actually in tune with that person, at some point, you have to be in tune enough that you'll be able to pick up on certain things, whether it's habits. If the relationship is open and y'all talking about financial situations, health, whatever the case is, I just really believe if you're paying attention, you should be able to pick up on it. And just for example, was it last week? TT just texted me out of nowhere. It was raining pretty bad. And she's like, "Hey, Dad, are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah." She said, "If you're driving home, just be careful because the weather is bad." And that like touched me because that shows me that she's in tune with me,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just checking in. She didn't have to wait for me to call and say, You know what? I wasn't even going to see her. She just texted me that. But the point I'm trying to make is I feel as though we should be in tune enough to where certain things is already overstood to where that person should not have to say anything. Now, if you actually going through something and that person knows you're going through something, and that's where the question comes up. Should that person that's going through something wait, or should the other person say something? So I'm just curious what your
Mhm.
response is to that. Because me, I think it should be the other
Yeah,
person. Should, if they know you're going through something like, hey, is everything good?
right.
Do you need help? Do you need
Yeah.
X amount of money? Whatever it is, I'm extending my hand. And if I
Mhm.
be like, no, I'm good, don't worry about it, then I think that's a good thing. But
Right.
I just feel as though the connection is more so what I'm looking at, not a
Yeah.
stubborn or I'm going to wait until they ask me. I just feel as though the
Mhm.
connection should be there, especially if it's already been said that, look,
Right.
I'm struggling. This happened. If the car broke down, the car broke down, and
Mhm.
I either got laid off from the job or, I'm not just where I should be. That I don't have any access to transportation or money or anything. So for me, it should be like, hey, that you good. Do you need anything? If not, I got you. Or hey, here's the keys to the car. Go get what you need to get, or whatever the case may be. And that's under the mindset that I am. So I'm just curious
Mhm.
what your response is to that.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. So it's gonna be two parts to what I'm about to say. And I guess the first part is like you said, you should know. I always say know your audience. I always
Yeah.
say know who you're dealing with. That's kind of my saying. I always tell the women I've dated
Right.
or been with, you should know who you're dealing with. And on the note that you just said, like if I've been with somebody for I say 6 months, it should be enough time to start picking up the understanding how that particular person is to where if something did come up, yeah, oh, I know he's gonna need help on this, so let me help.
Mhm.
Or I know she might need a little help. I'm not even going to ask her because I already know she needs it. So I'm gonna go ahead if she needs something, or if she made a comment about a bill coming up and she might be short, and she's going to be short, then I think yeah, it shouldn't have to be asked by your partner because she already or he already expressed to you, hey, you know what, I might be short this month or whatever it is, my car note, whatever. Man, I just not gonna have enough. And that month comes, and then she'd be like, "You good? You don't need no help." It's like seriously, I already told you like a month ago that I was going to be short. So why are you asking me? Why don't you just go ahead and give it to me? To me, that might come across as kind of selfish, but I think the point you made was perfect. Is what I will make. The same point is if you acknowledge to the person, then I think, yeah, it shouldn't have to be asked. Now, if you don't mention it and you don't say it and you kind of have that mentality, well, you should know when I need help.
Right.
That to me would be kind of not fair to your mate because your partner, because they don't know. So it has to be acknowledged. Like you said, it has to be communicated. And even if you say it, and I'm gonna give you an example with Felicia. We no longer together, but she helped me a lot financially. And I always told her we got into disagreement because I told her he was always there for me financially. But I mentioned to her that I had a situation where, I was kind of my hours was cut at work.
Right.
The training wasn't there. So I was going to be short on a payment or something. I forget what it was. I told her one time, and she's like, here, I got you. Don't even worry about it. Now, here's the thing where I'm gonna say it's a little different too, is she know me, and you should know this too, Matt. I'm real prideful. I don't like to ask for help. I know Jay used to get mad at me. When he was alive, he'd get pissed off because I would never ask for help. I'm the type of dude where I'm not gonna say I pretend. I'm gonna try to do everything I can first to
Right.
do it myself, and then if I need help, then I will ask. But it's like the last resort. So with me, when I'm in a relationship, I usually it's a pride thing. I feel like I'm the dude. I shouldn't have to be asking my woman for help, which it shouldn't be because your partner should help each other regardless, man or woman. I get that. But I'm just being honest. I always had that little pride thing where, damn, I gotta ask her for money. That's gonna make me look like I can't handle my business. So I tend to make that the last resort. Like I covered all bases, and now, damn, I'm desperate now. Now I need your help, and that's how I was with her. And she's like, "Well, you shouldn't do that." if you need help, everybody needs help. And if the person got it like I do, let me help you. And I said, well, let me give it back to you. I don't want you to give it to me because I don't want it thrown in my face later, because that's one thing too that I'm gonna talk about later. I'm gonna let it go back to you. But that's one dynamic, is when people help you, some people like to throw it in your face and, oh, I helped you this time, I did this for you, or did this for you, or that. It tend to take away that, oh, I need help again, because now it feels like whenever something comes up, that person like to highlight it and make you feel like, I'm helping you, you should be appreciated, which you should, but nobody likes for it to be rubbed in their face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I dated some girl years ago, a lady, and she always liked to let it be known, well, I helped you with this, well, I did this for you, you should be more appreciative. It wasn't for me. So to me, that always made me feel like, damn, I don't want to ask anybody for help if that's the response or kickback I'm gonna get, is I did this for you, and you're trying to make me feel some type of way. So I think some people, not everybody, some people might have that hesitant to ask their mate if they feel like it's going to be thrown in their face. Hey, I did this for you. You know, it's going to make you feel like I don't want to ask for help. That could be one dynamic. But end of the day, like I said, if it's communicated, I think each of us should help each other on that, man and woman. Whatever the situation is, if you're in a committed relationship, that's part of it. In my opinion, is helping each other financially and all that. So, but I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna give you a couple of examples again about the throwing in the face, because to me that deters a person sometimes. It may not be with you, might be the next relationship. It changes your mindset. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, so I definitely agree with the point when you said, man, it's Mike. It depends on the actually person that you with.
yeah.
I think nowadays it's a lot more challenging because so many people, especially women, um, is under the mindset that the man, not saying they shouldn't be, but if a man has to ask for money from a woman, then dare I say he's less than a man, or he's not man enough. And like you said, you're always going to be looked at as like, damn, this dude don't even got his shit in order. He got to ask a woman, you know, to help him out. And then the man is automatically, looked at as a provider. So for a man to ask his mate, being that she's a woman, I can see how, you could be kind of hesitant and like, you know what, man, I don't want to ask her because I don't want to look like, I'm not handling my business. And
Right.
if we ever did, think about getting married, would she look at me like he can't provide for me and he can't
Mm-hmm.
do this and do that because, he's asking me for money. So I could see how that can have a major influence, but it's funny because I always tell people my mind changes consistently. And that's only because, I'm under the firm belief every day we're supposed to be learning something. We should be different today than we were yesterday. So the
Mm-hmm.
way I thought yesterday is going to be different tomorrow because the
Right.
experiences I went through, I'm learning from. So
Mm-hmm.
for me now, I look at a relationship, I still look at it as a partnership, but I just feel as though that male, female, that gender thing is just throwing everything off because especially down here in Atlanta, it's ridiculous. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're not in a certain position or making a certain amount of money, you're not going to get what they call a called quality woman.
Mm-hmm.
But that's more so looks and material stuff. But as far as
Right.
the substance of a woman, like you said, how she was, where she
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Don't even worry about it, I got you," and she knew
Yeah.
you well enough to not
Mm-hmm.
question you or badger you, just like, "Look, I got you. You don't even have to worry about paying it back."
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, if it's continuous and it happens like every other month, then that's a problem. But
Right.
if it's an emergency and something just
Mm-hmm.
came up and it was out of that person's control,
Mm-hmm.
rather if it's male or female, I don't think it should be an issue. I just feel as though when you're in a committed relationship, and most
Mm-hmm.
people are going to say, well, if I'm not married, then I'm not going to treat you like that, or I'm not going to help you out. And that's
Right.
what's crazy to me And not to get off subject,
Mm-hmm.
but marriage is a title. The commitment is what makes that marriage. So
Right.
if you're committed to that person, it shouldn't make a difference if you got a ring on your finger or not. If you're truly committed and you that both parties know that you're committed to each other and you're truly deaf to you part in sickness for help, you don't need the marriage certificate or the
Right.
title of a marriage. Now I get it
Mhm.
because of the society we live in is reasons why, but I mean as far as when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, the substance of it, that shouldn't matter. So I feel as though in a
Mhm.
relationship, there shouldn't be that male um gender type of role. Well, you're the male, you're supposed to do this. You the female, you're
Right.
supposed to do this. It should be, look, I got you,
Mhm.
regardless what it is, as long as you're not out there killing, stealing, and robbing, then I
Mhm.
got you.
Right.
Because if it's a true partnership, you're
Mhm.
not gonna sit there and say, well, I can't do this. You're the woman. Because if you're in a
Right.
partnership in a business, you're helping out that partner because that's your
Mhm.
partner. So that's how I see that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's true. I mean that's a good point too. About I was just about to make a comment on, and I was going to be one of those people that say, well, when you married, you definitely should. But that's a good point. When you committed, you committed, and we do put too much emphasis on. If I'm married, I would do this for her. Or if I'm married, I'd do that for him. Where if you've been dating for somebody, let's say a year, 2 years, there shouldn't be no difference. You're still with that person. You're still committed to him. So it shouldn't be, oh, he ain't got a ring on my finger. So I'm not going to help him on that aspect. Because that's still your partner, regardless if they married or not. So I think that plays a part. If you're in a relationship, some women or men may think, well, I may help her or help him, but I shouldn't have to help him this much because that's not my wife. Now, if that was my
Mhm.
wife, then I'd do more like that. So I think that was advocate. Some people might tend to lean in that direction, but that's a good point to put out there. I say more than 2 years, you should be able to help each other out. Now, I'm gonna say 6 months to me, that's maybe the borderline cutoff, but I mean, anything earlier than that, to me, is
Yeah.
too soon. Like with Felicia, she helped me out. We literally talked for a month. And that's why I felt like, damn, I need to pay you back because you barely know me. And I don't want to come across that, damn, this dude gonna be needy. He's gonna be needing the help every time something happens. So to me, I think if somebody's just getting in a relationship and the guy or girl say, I need you to help me, depending on the amount, to me, I won't say that's a red flag, but it's something you should think about going forward. Like, is this somebody I really want to commit to? Because if they're going to be needing help all the time, there's nothing wrong with that. But you still should be able to hold your own because I'm holding my own. And I think that's important going into a relationship because what is a lot of problems in relationship? Part of it is financial problems. So I think that would be something for anybody that's new in a relationship. If you have a guy or girl, and again, depending on how much it costs or what it is the need, is that something that you want to really kind of forecast and be like, okay, is this the norm? Or is like you said, a one-time deal where shit happens. Everybody has stuff that happens sometimes where emergency pops up. But if it's a consistency habit, like every other month, damn, I'm short on my rent or I'm short on my car note. Can you help me out? I know I've been asking you, but just let me, do this one last time. To me, that's a trend. And yeah, at that point, tough love. Like I love you, but nah, you need to figure out, do a budget or something to get your money right. Because you're not doing something right. And I don't want to be with somebody that's going to be a financial problem because that's a liability. That's not even an asset. Now you're
Mhm.
dealing with them just taking money out of your pocket. So I think that plays a part, in the beginning. Like I said, if you've been on 2 years, 3 years, and something happened, to me, that goes without question. Like you were saying in the beginning of the segment. I shouldn't have to go, babe, damn, I need help. Or if I come up to you, damn, this happened today, I need money. You think you can help me out? If I tell you, like, you know what, don't worry about it, I got you. Vice versa. She comes to me, damn, babe, you know what? The money I thought I have, I don't have it. If I got it, don't worry about it. Here you go. We do this for each other, back and forth. We give and take. You know what I mean? So to
Mhm.
me, it depends on the amount of time. I think that does make a difference. I don't think you should do that right off the bat. Felicia was really gracious and sweet and I appreciate her for that, but you can't do that for everybody. So, I just think that's the part you need to look at. Not saying you shouldn't do it, but I think that's something you should evaluate with that person you're dealing with.
Mhm.
Is this going to be a habit? You know what I mean? Because that's going to just mess your finances up. And I don't think that's right either, to be with somebody that's not financially sound, because you remember dad with mom, and he'd give mom the money and then he'd come back, look, Greta, don't owe me $50. What, John? You just got paid. So, it gets
Yeah.
annoying after a while when somebody keeps saying they need help. I mean, again, that's your partner. I get it. But then maybe both of us need to sit down and have a conversation on what's going on and why you always need, financial help. Because to me, everybody needs help every now and then. Like I hit you up the other day
Yeah.
when I needed that, $30? And that was only for the simple fact that I didn't have it on my card. So the bill I had to
Right.
pay had to come through the card, but they didn't take cash. So I didn't have it on me. So that's why I was like, damn, I'm just gonna hit Matt up at the last minute. And what happened. So stuff like that even happens with family. I know that's kind of veering off from being with your mate, but I think sometimes it happens when you need help. It's an emergency, like you said. So you reach out. I don't think the person should read your mind, like, damn, Mark need help. Let me call his ass. I think he needs $30. Not you, but just saying your significant other. Like
Yeah.
that has to be communicated.
Okay. I got three things.
Yeah.
One, I'm going to touch on when you
Mhm.
said that as far as the months, she was like 6 months is
Yeah.
too early.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back in time a little bit. It's almost 2 years. Time go by quick. But when I was dating Michelle, and I was going through my legal situation with the massage thing,
Mhm.
and I think I met her through Facebook,
Right.
talked one day, got in an argument, made back up kind of sort of. So it was about maybe 3 days. And, she woke up and called me as like, hey, I had a dream. And I said, that's crazy because, I just need to get away. And she's like, oh my God, God told me that I needed to help you and just do one favor for me. Don't say no, just do it. I was like, okay. And she was
Mhm.
like, well, I'll pay for you to go to Sedona. And
Right.
we had never met. I don't think we even met in person yet.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And that's not a cheap trip. It was for like a week.
Yeah.
So again, I hear what you're saying when we say six, or you said 6 months. But
Yeah.
like I said, I'm under the firm belief when
Yeah.
something is right. And
Uh-huh.
if you're truly that person and
Right.
you have the means, I don't think it should matter. Like time to me doesn't matter. If you truly a person
Mhm.
of God and you have good intentions, because the universe is always going to bring it back to you anyway, so you're not going to miss it.
Mhm.
So for me, I don't think there should be a time period on it. Like if I
Mhm.
had the means, by all means,
Right.
I'm gonna help you out. If it's not meant to be for us to be together, then it's not meant to be. And she even said that.
Right.
She's like, even if we don't be together, it doesn't matter. I just feel as though was laid on my heart to do, and that's
Mhm.
what I want to do. So I don't but I disagree with the time period. I don't think the time period has anything to do with it.
Uh-huh.
Now, I will say
Yeah.
the consistent every other week or every other month, that's too much. But I'm just
Right.
saying, like, if it's a once in a lifetime, especially now, everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of people are struggling
Mhm.
because of the stuff that's going on in this country and in the world. So
Right.
if you notice, then it shouldn't be no hesitation.
Mhm.
Now, the other thing I'm gonna go back to is I remember when I was with Aja,
Mhm.
and this is kind of dibbling over into a different area. As far as when we was living together, we split all the bills. I think was 50-50. She
Mhm.
paid half the rent, I paid half the rent. And at that time I was in bankruptcy, so I couldn't get any credit, and I
Right.
had a Tahoe. I went home to Philly and I was coming back, and the whole freaking right axle basically came off.
Right.
So it was like $2,000 and I didn't have it. She was like, I got you. But what she did was she got a loan but she had me sign a promissory note saying that you
Mhm.
will pay me back at this time. If you don't pay me back, these are the consequences for it.
Right.
Now, mind you, at that time, she was like, we said we was in love and she wanted to have children possibly
Mm.
together and wanted to move in. So
Uh-huh.
she was looking, or we were looking long term, but
Right.
she still was like, I know you, but I don't know you. So you're going to
Right.
sign this promissory note.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was interesting. I just thought about that when you was talking.
Right. Uh-huh.
Um,
Mhm.
but the
Yeah.
other dynamic that's going to be different is like some people have issues with men, like I said, doing a 50-50 when when they're living with
Mhm.
somebody. That's another topic. But then now this is another question.
Mhm.
So if you're in a committed relationship with this person and they're living in their place and you're living at yours, as the man, should you pay her bills? Because this was a while back. This dude was going off on a rant talking about
Mhm.
you ain't no man if you don't pay the bills. I paid all the
Right.
bills and I pay mine and hers. And I was
Yeah.
like, dude, you stupid because I ain't paying no woman's bills that I know that I don't know I'm going to be with. Because
Right.
then, you left out if you don't make it.
Right.
So I was just thinking, like, okay, so what in that case?
Mhm.
What is that okay? Or should a man pay another? I mean, not another, but should a man pay his woman's bills even if they're not living together? Because it's the
If they
same
not
concept.
living,
Yeah, if they're not living together.
so he wasn't living there, but he was paying her bills.
Yeah.
No. Uh-uh. No. You have to be physically there. And even if you physically there, this is just my belief. When I was with Tammy, we was together. She had her own house. Um, her thing was you help me with the rent, but you gonna help do other things. That's what she's like. Do you know how to cut a yard? Do you know how to fix shit if stuff break down? Like that's another way of paying. Like that's things the way to help out. So I wasn't always
Mhm.
pay all the bills. It was if you want to pay the rent, I'm gonna leave you responsible for the maintenance in the house. So if something break down, I'm looking for you to take care of that. So that was kind of our agreement. So something messed up, then I had to be more responsible for the one to financially or fix it myself, whatever. But I paid half the rent and that was it. She paid the light bill, whatever. But that was the agreement. Is anything else house wise? That was my responsibility. So I think that's fair. And we was dating, not dating. We was in a relationship. But living
Mhm.
outside the house, no. Now, unless I know I can completely afford mine and hers, I would probably help with one bill, cable, maybe because I come over there and watch the cable or food, groceries, because I'm eating up your food, but I ain't paying no water bill. Well, maybe the water, because I do take showers, but the actual mortgage, no. Mm-mm. Electric, maybe I give you half, because I do be over there with you burning electricity. But even on that, that's a big maybe. That's not 100. Yeah, let me pay your bills. That to me, no. You got to be physically living there, in my opinion. Now, some dudes may feel like they can do that. Go for it, but not me. Not on that aspect. Nope, nope, nope. I know some women be like, "You ass cheat, you ain't real man." Hey, we gotta be living together for me to do that. You know, but like I said, even if I had the money, it had to be her reasoning. Well, I need help, not just because. You know what I mean? Not just you. If you got a good job and you've been maintaining your bills before you met me, what would be the reason for that?
Okay,
I don't.
so
That's
what's
just
the,
me. Huh?
so what's the difference if she was to move in? If y'all was to move in together?
Because then I'm living there too. I'm there 24/7. So I'm basically living there. So that means I'm using more of everything. The lights, the water, eating up the food. That's what I was saying before. I would help give her. I won't pay the whole thing, but I give you a little bit. If I'm living there and we both living there, yeah, I will have to at least help half because I'm doing the same thing with her. I'm living there, eating, taking showers, looking at TV, whatever the case. So I feel like that would be a difference because I'm there more consistently. Now, if you one of those people that's always at each other's house or you at her house more than you are yours, then maybe that would make sense why the dude did that. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like if you at her house more than you at your own, so in a sense you basically living there, you just go home to change or whatever. or you might not even do that because you got a lot of clothes in the house. So then I think that would be, it would be a little bit more understanding to give her money, even though you're not technically living there, your ass always there. So you basically living there, you know?
All right, so I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. You know, I got to go to the metaphysics side of it.
Yeah.
So honestly, if I had the means, I would do it.
Mhm.
And the reason why I say this is because the natural order of us is supposed to be in our feminine and masculine energies, respectively.
Right.
And if she's always in her masculine energy, then you're not going to benefit in a relationship because, I mean, granted, it's going to be a personal thing within herself to be able to be in her feminine. But if you actually have the ability to help her be in her feminine
Mhm.
by paying for her bills, paying for whatever she needs and stuff, then she can be truly in her feminine energy, which is going to, again, be better for you because now she can actually put that feminine energy into relationship and y'all will function better because there's a balance opposed
Mhm.
to him being masculine and her being unbalanced, more masculine than feminine. And
Mhm.
that's the proper order where it's supposed to be. But people have twisted it and made it
Mhm.
a gender role again, saying that's what a man's supposed to do. But they just totally like, disregard the fact that it has nothing to do with that. The whole
Mhm.
point of men being a protector and a provider is because it's allowing that woman to be in her feminine energy, which is going to
Mhm.
make that whole relationship balance, and it makes her balance and it makes you balance. So
Mhm.
for that reason is why I would do it. So all this other gender role and what man's supposed to do, that for me, that has nothing to do with it. It's always about the energies that we're supposed to be in and balance. And if that's going to make her balance to where she's feminine, when I see her, she's sweet, she's loving, she's empathetic, sympathetic, she's nurturing. If that's what I'm going to get, and that's all I got to do is pay some bills to keep her in that energy, then I'll do it.
Mhm.
So that's how I look at that. Because when I was with Tam, even when I was married, um, I was when she got out the military, she was working, or she wasn't working for an extended period of time, but then she started working again. And I'm just going to be honest, I didn't feel as though I was in my rightful place
Mhm.
because she was going to work, and she deal with the stuff she had to deal with, and then some people don't know, some women don't know how to, you know, um,
Mhm.
come down from that energy, and that's where the clashing comes in. But
Mhm.
anyway, I want to get off topic, but I was
Yeah.
just curious as far as that with that question. So you
Yeah,
you
but
said
see,
you had
that's what I'm saying. When you say that, you would do that if you knew you was barely, not barely, I should say, if you was doing okay, but you weren't doing it to where you can do you or somebody else, you would still do that, knowing that will put you in a financial bind. Because that's what I
no.
mean. Like you said earlier, I just think today's world, you need two income. Now, unless the dude balling and he just got it like that, I don't even think he can do that and still maintain his own house. I think he'd be setting himself up for failure if he does that, knowing that financially he really couldn't. Like if it's cut close to where, damn, if I mess up, I'm gonna be behind financially. I wouldn't do it. Now, if he know he can do it and financially it's not gonna set him back, then by all means, that's why I say I will help out. But nowadays, the way inflation is, you gotta have two incomes. So I wouldn't put myself out there doing that for somebody, knowing that it's going to mess me up at some point. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I would do the same if I knew I would never be financially compromised by that. But if I know that, damn, one hiccup there, one bad break here, now I'm financially in a bind, then I would say, yeah, I help out, but I'm not paying all your bills. You know what I'm saying? Because that won't be feasible financially because I know that it's real close, borderline for myself. Now, if you rich or you got money, you well off, you just know how to manage your money, then yeah,
Mhm.
by all means. But I just think nowadays it's harder to do that because everything ridiculous. Like I don't know how it is in Atlanta. You probably the cost of living is even higher there.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, it is than here. And here it's starting to increase. You know what I mean? So you can't just do the same thing like you used to because you're just going to need that extra income. There's a lot of people working 2 jobs just because they trying to make ends meet. So I would think if a dude do that, he better make sure that he know that he financially sound. You know, because I would love to do that for a woman too, but I'm not going to do it if it's going to put me back, and then she going to turn around and start helping me. So now we back and forth helping each other, which is nothing wrong with that. That's what you would choose to do. But I still believe that women nowadays, if you talk to women, some agree with that, maybe a lot, but some will actually be like, you know what, but I don't want to do acting like he's going to be able, not say he will be more controlling, but they won't feel like they can be free because they got to rely on him, which way in the sense it used to be. Because I had a
Right.
lady friend I was talking to, and I said, why did you start working if you don't have to? She said, because she was telling me about her dude. And she was like, because I got bored at home. I felt like I wasn't doing anything. I felt useless because he was doing everything and I'm just at home. I don't want to be stuck at home all day. And I think that's the problem. Not all
Mm.
women would sit there and say that, but there is some that's going to be like, yeah, that's my problem is I don't want to be sitting there at home all day just waiting on him to come home. So they want to have something to do to have their own money. So I think that would be the other dynamic is if she making money and you paying for everything, what is she going to do with her money? So why would you do that? Like, what is she going to make money for if you're going to pay for everything? So I don't think
See
there's
that?
nothing wrong with it, but I think it's okay to help. I wouldn't say just, and I get what you're saying about the masculine and the nature and all that, and the femininity. I get all that, but I just feel like nowadays it's a little different because the way the economy is.
I hear you,
Mhm.
but now when I was talking about that, I wasn't speaking in terms of her not working anymore. Now, if she
Uh-huh.
still choose to work, she can
Uh-huh.
work. But like that money, if it's really a committed relationship, that
Right.
money is being put aside. So when y'all take trips or whatever like that,
Mhm.
you're able to take trips.
Right.
If you want to purchase something, you're able to purchase something.
Mhm.
So it's things that she can do with with the money that can
Right.
be beneficial for you as a couple. But
Mhm.
when that whole, well, this is my money, I make this, and that's your
Right.
money, then yeah, that it's
Mhm.
never going to work out. But this
Mhm.
is how I see the thing about the economy. It is getting crazy, ridiculously high.
Mhm.
That's part of the agenda to keep us separate, to keep the energies different.
Mhm.
So people will have that mentality of, well, we have to have 2 jobs to
Mhm.
survive. And I was telling Kim the other day, like when I went to Arizona, there's places out there that most people aren't going to go live off the grid, as they say.
Mhm.
And when you're living off the grid, the only thing you have to provide is for yourself is water and electricity. And you can
Mhm.
even do that without possibly using public um, utilities and stuff. And even if you do, it won't be that much. But because society says you got to have all these glamorous material items and stuff like that, that's to me where the problem comes in. Now, granted, housing is expensive, vehicles and stuff is expensive. So from that aspect, yeah, it can be expensive. But anything outside of that, just the basic needs of survival or
Mhm.
living, everything else is extra. So if that man does what he's supposed to do, rather if that's I ain't gonna say going to school, getting a degree, because that's part of the agenda. But if he's doing something, has a trade or a skill, have his own business, and he's making enough money
Mhm.
to support him and his significant other, then why not? You know. But then the other dynamic is if you have a family, then that's it's super hard. But
Yeah.
it depends on if it's just you and that, and your
Mhm.
significant other, then I
Right.
don't see an issue with that.
Uh-huh.
Um, but if you live in a glamorous life and you want to have all the toys and and everything else, then
Mhm.
yes, you're gonna have to have,
Right.
that second income.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's just a dynamic really depends on each individual, what it is that they
Yeah.
want. and
Right.
so forth. But
Yeah.
that's how I see that.
Yeah. I was just about to say that at the end of the day, it's going to be individually because the other thing I was going to bring up about the money thing when you're helping each other out is, and I'm not saying everybody. So when I say this, I'm speaking of the few that are, because again, it's always balance. So you're going to have what I call that devil's advocate. So I'm thinking about the one that is that percentage of people
Right.
that does stuff like this. Now, there's some people where you give them money or help them out, and you look and you see them buying stuff. Not that you said you ain't had no money, but you buying a new outfit, or you just said you was broke, but here you are showing me some new shoes you got. And it's like, seriously, but you told me you needed help to pay a bill or whatever, your car, but you buying all this new stuff. Oh, I had extra money come my way. Not that I want it back, but to me, that would be a sign too of when you helping somebody. And I'm saying you got to make people prove themselves, like, but
Hmm.
sometimes you might need help, but you really don't need help. You just know the other person can help you out because it's your significant other, but you don't want to spend your money. So you're gonna ask your significant other, hey, loan me this $200 because I really I need this. They don't need it, they want it, and they don't want to
Right.
spend their money, so they use yours. That's one scenario. Now the other side of that is I'm loaning you money and then everything's good, or I give you money. Let me rephrase that. I give you money. I'm giving my girl money. Here you go. You need 200 for whatever. A month comes by. Man, the last time I gave you money, you did this. I give you too much money. You need to respect me. You need to do this. You need to do that. I'm tired of giving you money and you don't do nothing or whatever. Just making a little story. Okay. Or the vice versa. Women do the same thing. Remember the last time I helped your sorry ass out and I gave you money and you didn't do nothing for me, whatever. So the point I'm trying to make is some people that you help out that just not financially using their money right. They spend it on everything. And then when it comes to a certain bill or something they need to pay, they don't have it, then they come to you, which that's your significant other. So you feel like, you know what, let me help her, help them out. Then the other side of that spectrum is the person that helping you out, making you feel like you owe them the world because they helped you out. And the only time they throw it in your face is when something come up, a disagreement, or y'all have a little argument, then the first thing that comes out that person's mouth is I did this and that for you, I helped you out this way. So I think that too will play a dynamic. And what you said earlier on the top of the broad podcast is, should you ask first or should the person already know? So I think that's
Hmm.
a slight small dynamic that plays a part as well when you going into that. Again, that's why I went to the 6 months. I think that would be more or less somebody you just dated. Now, if you 2 years in, you should already passed all that. Again, not everybody's doing it. So I'm not saying this is how we are as people, but there is some that have experienced that because I personally experienced that aspect where I helped somebody out and she buying shit. And like, seriously, how you get this, but you said you didn't have money for that. So that made me feel a little bit more reluctant when I want to help somebody, more her, because it felt like I was being used because she just wanted to do it for what she wanted to do it for. Now, of
Right.
course, you can look and say, well, dude, you just had bad taste or you don't know how to pick them. It still happened regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a small percentage, guys. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but that's a dynamic that sometimes happens. Not all the time, but sometimes. So I just think, at the end of the day, in a nutshell, we should help each other out. I believe that 100. Like you said, the guy can do it. That's the way it should be. He should be able to take care of the woman he's with. That's kind of how it was. That's the way it's, I know you're gonna say the male and female gender thing, but basically that's the way it is. The man should be able to
Hmm.
provide for the woman and himself because that's kind of how it was. Now it's not like that now. So many women is making more money. So now the roles are reversed, and you got a lot of women doing more the guy role. So, and that's another subject for another day. But that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. I don't know. It really depends on that person.
Mhm.
Like you said, um, I don't know. I have a different way of seeing things and thinking. So,
Hmm.
I always kind of come off or come across with something maybe like off the top or it's kind of questionable, but yeah, I'm just really with the in tune thing. Um, that just means a lot to me. That just to me, it's just paying attention. You
Yeah.
know, um, and that's the biggest thing for me. Just pay attention. You can learn a
Hmm.
lot when you just sit back and just observe a person and
Right.
watch how they move. You just
Hmm.
pick up on certain things.
Yep.
Um, so I think if that skill, because it's definitely a skill, if that skill is learned, things would be, in my opinion, a lot smoother.
Mhm.
And then the gender roles thing, I just think that needs to go away. I really
Mhm.
do. I know it's never going to go away just because the agenda that's out there, but I think if some people really stop and look at it and actually like paid attention to it and just focused on the energies between the two and not look at
Mhm.
everything as well. This is what a man's supposed to do. This was a woman's supposed to do. Because I think women is dispelling that whole notion that they can't do the same, or if not more. So
Mhm.
that sense of protection and providing is kind of like out the window. So if you're looking at it just from that perspective, then I think you're always going to come with a roadblock. But if you look at it as protecting the energies and operating your proper energies, that kind of do away with it. Even though we both have one of the opposite, we have feminine energy and male and masculine, and women has feminine and masculine as well. But if we're operating in that proper one, that's going to allow that relationship to be balanced.
Mhm.
So I know I sound like a broken record. I keep talking about it,
No,
but
no,
that's
but
just
I mean, I hear
heavily
that. But what happens when that woman is in that masculine and she used to it? How do you get her to fall back? Because I had a friend tell me the other day she would die to have a guy be masculine, but it's so hard to fall back in feminine if the guy say he is, but he really ain't the masculine one. So what makes her want to fall back and be comfortable if the guy's not literally doing or being masculine where he say he is? If that
right. But
makes
that's
sense. So I kind of
right.
understood what she was saying.
But that's what I'm saying. That's still gender roles because, like, the true divine masculine
Mhm.
is not necessarily being in charge, but being responsible, being accountable,
Mhm.
um, you know, taking charge when things need to be, taken care of. That's more masculine energy. Being in charge of stuff, organization,
Mhm.
prioritizing. Less masculine energy, but if she's looking at him as okay, well, maybe he's not doing certain things that's considered masculine, but let's say he has a business. Let's say he's
Mhm.
organized, but he's just not making the amount of money that she's making. But she feels as though she has to pick up the slack. Like, man, I always got to pay when we go somewhere. I'm always
Mhm.
doing this. I'm always doing that. But he's still in his masculine energy because he's doing the necessary things that masculine energy does. Like I said, in charge, providing in a sense, managing, organize, structure, all that. If he's doing
Mhm.
that, but she's only looking at the aspect of him not making enough, the amount of money that she's making,
Mhm.
then that's on her. And I think that's what a lot of women are missing. They keep
Mhm.
looking at that old traditional type of what a man is supposed to be doing, opposed to is he truly masculine. If he's not doing those things, then of course, she's gonna be like, well, damn, I really want a masculine man. But what is
Mhm.
she identifying as masculine is the question.
Mhm.
And even like what we did when we went to when I went to the woods, the nature is feminine energy because the earth is feminine energy. So when you
Mhm.
get back in touch with nature, an ocean and stuff like that, that's going to get you back in your feminine energy. So if that
Mhm.
woman is never doing any of that stuff, then she's always going to be unbalanced. Like she has to
Mhm.
get back in touch with nature and stuff like that to
Mhm.
bring her back to balance and get grounded. So it's things that a woman can do um,
Mhm.
that can help her maintain her femininity. But
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't want this to be a masculine versus feminine
No, I was just
podcast, man.
asking that one question, but
Yeah,
well, I made that comment because it kind of falls in the same line, like parallel with each other, because
yeah,
they're working and helping each other out. That kind of falls into masculinity because if she feel like he should be doing he should help me, or vice versa. If she's helping him, that's why I brought up that part. That's where the
hmm
masculinity came in because we speaking on helping each other out, but if the guy needs to help a little bit more than the woman, how she's looking at that. So
yeah,
I think it's more or less, like you said, partnership, being balanced. But yeah, that masculinity always gonna pop up, in my opinion, versus
yeah.
feminine. But I was gonna ask you this. Now, I hear everything you were saying, so you might repeat the same thing in a different way. But when you were saying about you should know when the other person needs help because if you've been with them long enough, you're in tune. So, like I was saying earlier, how do you deal with somebody that's you said stubborn, but they just real prideful? They don't want to help because they feel like it's not that they weak or anything. They just feel like they could do it on their own or they're going to try their best, whatever the case may be. They don't come and ask you. How do you handle that? Do you feel like they still should come and ask you, even though that person is prideful, or they wrong for being too prideful and not coming and asking you for help? If that makes sense. Like, let's say you and your lady is very prideful, don't want to come and ask you, but you know she needs help, but she's never going to tell you because she has so much pride. She'd rather try to do it herself. So are you going to hold that against her, or are you just going to say, you know what, let me go help her because I know she's prideful. She's not going to ask me, so I might as well just go ahead and help her. Do you feel like she's wrong for not asking because she's the one that needs the help?
Okay, so this is what I mean by paying attention. Like what that person needs help in
Mm-hmm.
really depends on what how you can help them or not. Let's say,
Right.
for example, you're paying attention, and if she's normally the type that she'll go to Starbucks all the time, she get her a
Mm-hmm.
latte, whatever those things are, or she'll treat herself to a spa day, or she treat herself to the movies, or she buy herself something nice, and you're paying attention, and she hasn't been doing this for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So one or two things that happens: either that person just trying to change the way they conduct themselves. You can ask the question, so you change your routine? No. Okay. So either the place closed. Did the Starbucks close? No. Did the spa close? No. So me, I'm gonna be like, okay, well, maybe she's not making as much money with her business as she was before. So I know she's prideful. So instead of trying to force her to tell me, let me just go ahead and cash app her,
Mm-hmm.
$500. Like, hey, babe, this is just because I'm thinking about you. If you need it, you need it. If you don't, you don't. But
Mm-hmm.
it's for you. Or if you're going to Starbucks, just driving by, just pick up something from Starbucks. When she come home, hey, babe, I was thinking about you. So that's what I'm talking about by staying in tune. You're picking up on the things that they do, and if they
Mm-hmm.
break out of that routine, it's a reason
Mm-hmm.
why. Like people don't just stop doing stuff just off from
Mm-hmm.
epiphany. Like, oh, I'm not going to do this no more.
Right.
So that tells me that something is going on. And if you know they're
Mm-hmm.
prideful, they're not going to come tell me, then I'll do something,
Mm-hmm.
and if that helps and if they get back in their routine, that's what it was. She didn't have some
Mm-hmm.
money. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Yeah.
that's what I meant by being in
Mm-hmm.
tune and not have to force that person to say something or wait for them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
shit, I know she don't got no money. I'm just going to wait until she say something. To
Right.
me, you should not in a relationship. If it's to that point, then either you're with the wrong person or y'all not growing together.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it. That's how it should be in tune. So
Right.
whereas you're doing something for the other person without them even asking.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah.
So, but all right. So no further ado. I think this is a pretty good topic. Got some good conversation out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful people. I hope you all enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comment. We'll be looking forward to looking to see if there's any comments or any more subscriptions. And we'll see you next time. As I said, your thoughts becomes your belief, and your belief becomes your manifestation.
All right, lovely people. Thank y'all. See y'all next week. Same thing, STS.
Peace.
And we out.